Hey guys, my name is Kira Kiriyami. Welcome back to Redeeming Love. We are on chapter 6, and Angel didn't do too well last chapter. She and Magwan kind of got into it. But let's see what happens in chapter 6. Michael couldn't get Angel out of his mind. He tried to concentrate on his work and found himself thinking about her instead. Why did she keep eating at him? Why did he have this gut feeling that something was wrong? He worked until past dark every day, and then sat before the fire, tormented with thoughts of her. He saw her face in the flames, beckoning to him. To hell itself, no doubt. Or was he getting a taste of that already? He remembered the tragic air about her as she had passed him that first day, and reminded himself how hard-hearted she was. He swore he wouldn't go back to her, then did so every night when he slept and Angel haunted his dreams. He couldn't escape her. She danced before him, like Salome before King Herod. He would reach out to her, and she would move back, tantalizing him. "You want me, don't you, Michael? Then come back, come back." After a few days, his dreams turned to nightmares. She was fleeing from something. He ran after her, calling for her to stop. But then she ran on until she came to a ledge. She looked back at him then, the wind ripping her golden hair and her white face. "Mara, wait!" She turned away and spread her arms wide and went over. "No!" Michael awakened with a start, his body streaming sweat. His chest heaved, and his heart raced so fast his body shook with it. He raked trembling hands through his hair. "Jesus," he whispered to the darkness. "Jesus, deliver me from this." Why did she haunt him so? He got up and opened the door, leaning heavily against the frame. It was raining again. He closed his eyes wearily. He hadn't prayed in days. "I'd be a fool to go back," he said aloud. "A fool." He looked out at the dark, weeping sky again. "But that's what you want, isn't it, Lord? And you're not going to give me any peace until I do." He sighed heavily and rubbed the back of his neck. "I don't see what good will come of it, but I'll go back, Lord. I don't like it much, but I'll do what you want." When he finally went back to bed, he slept deeply without dreaming for the first time in days. In the morning, the sky was clear. Michael loaded the wagon and hitched up a team. When he drove to Paradise late that afternoon, he looked up Angel's window. The drapes were drawn. A muscle jerked in his jaw, and hard pain tightened his belly. She was probably working. "Lord, you said do your will, and I'm trying hard. Does it have to hurt so much? I need a woman, and I've waited for your choice. Why did you give me this? Why am I back here again in this camp, looking up at her window with my heart in my throat? She doesn't want anything to do with me." Shoulders hunched, he headed down Main Street to take care of business at the Mercantile. He needed the gold to get upstairs at the palace. When he pulled up before Hochschild's store, he jumped down from his wagon and strode up the steps. A note was sticking on the window. Closed. Michael knocked hard anyways. From inside, Hochschild yelled a string of curses that would weather a seasoned sailor. When he threw the door open, his anger vanished. "Michael, where have you been? I've been out of everything for weeks and no sign of you." Unshaven, half drunk, his shirt tail hanging, Joseph came outside to look at the wagon. "A full load, thank heaven. I don't care if it's bug-ridden and rotting, I'll take everything you've got." "You're the sort of fellow I like doing business with," Michael said, smiling slightly. He stacked crates and carried them in 2 at a time. "You look terrible. Have you been sick?" Joseph laughed. "Too much drink. You in a hurry or something? Could you stop long enough for a talk?" "Not this time." You planning on spending everything I give you at the palace again? It's one of man's afflictions, isn't it? Need of woman." Michael's jaw stiffened. How do you come to know so much about my personal business? It wasn't hard when you were still in town after 4 days last time. Hochschild took one look at Michael, made a silent whistle, and changed the subject. There was a strike about 3 miles upriver. He gave details. With all the gold dust coming in, I can raise my prices. Michael slammed the last crate on the counter. Angel's price had probably gone up too. Hochschild paid up. He scratched his grizzled cheek. Usually Michael was sociable, but today he is downright grim. Got you heard yet? Not yet. He had invested all his hard-earned gold dust in courting Angel last trip. He poured his payment into his belt. Rumor has it Angel's not doing business for a while, Joseph said. Her name was all it took. Michael felt as though he had been struck in the chest. Did she earn herself a rest? Joseph's eyebrows rose. The mark wasn't like Michael at all. He must have fallen hard and been hurt bad. Shaking his head, he grimaced. Forget I mentioned her. He followed Michael outside and watched him jump up into the wagon. Town got a pastor just last Wednesday. If you have a mind to hear him, he's preaching at the Gold Nugget Saloon. Michael was thinking about Angel. He took up the reins. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. You had better rest those horses a while. Looks like you pushed them pretty hard getting up here. I'm heading for the livery stable right now. He tipped his hat and drove down Main Street. It was going to take bribery and fast talking to see Angel tonight. He left the 2 draft horses and wagon with McPherson and went down to the center of town to rent himself a room at the hotel across from the palace. For the first time in his life, Michael wanted to get rip-roaring drunk. He went for a long walk instead. He needed time to get his emotions under control and think through what he was going to say to her. He returned at dusk, no easier in his mind. A crowd was gathered outside the Gold Nugget Saloon, listening to the new preacher shouting about these being the end times of Revelation. Michael stood on the outer edge of the crowd, listening. He glanced up once at Angel's window. Someone moved back into the shadows. He ought to go over now and make his arrangements with the Duchess. His heart raced, and he broke out in a sweat just thinking about it. He would wait a little longer. Someone touched his back. He turned to see an older woman looking up at him with bloodshot eyes. Her hair was dark and curly, and she wore a low-cut, garish green dress. I'm lucky, she said. Angel's friend. She was drunk and slurring her words. Saw you from across the street, she nodded toward the palace. You're the one, aren't you? The one who's kept asking Angel to go away with him? Anger shot through him like a rage fire. What else did she tell you? Don't get mad, mister. Just go and ask her again. Did she tell you to come down here? Was she up there laughing at him behind the curtain? No, she shook her head sharply. Angel, she's never asked for nothing. Tears filled the woman's eyes, and she wiped her nose on her shawl. She don't even know that I'm talking to you. Well, thanks, Lucky. But last time I saw her, she couldn't wait until I walked out her door, and it was real clear she hoped I'd never come back. Lucky looked up at him. Get her out of here, mister. Even if you don't care anymore, even if Angel don't, just get her out of here. Suddenly alarmed, Michael caught her arm and she turned away. What's the matter with her, Lucky? What are you trying to tell me? Lucky wiped her nose again. I can't talk anymore. I gotta get back before the Duchess misses me. She crossed the street, but instead of going in front, she sneaked along the back. Michael looked up at Angel's window. Something was wrong. Very wrong. He strode across the street and went in through the swinging doors. Except for a couple men playing cards and drinking, the place was almost deserted. The bodyguard wasn't in the front of the stairs to stop him from going up. The hall was dark and quiet. Too quiet. A man came out of Angel's room, and the Duchess was with him. She saw Michael first. "What are you doing up here? No one's allowed upstairs until they've dealt with me. I want to see Angel. She's not working today." He looked at the black bag in the man's hand. "What's the matter with her?" "Nothing," the Duchess answered sharply. "Angel's just taking a few days off to rest. Now get out of here." She tried to block his way, but Michael set her aside and went into the room. The Duchess grabbed his arm. "Stay away from her, Doc. Stop him." The doctor fixed her with a cold glare. "No, ma'am, I won't." Michael reached the bed and saw her. "Oh, sweet Lord." "It was Magawan," Doc said quietly from behind Michael. "It wasn't my fault," the Duchess said, drawing back in fear from the look in Michael's face. "It wasn't." "She's right," the doc said. "If Duchess hadn't come in when she did, he probably would have killed her." "Now, will you get out of here and leave her alone?" the Duchess said. "I'll leave all right," Michael answered, "and I'm taking her with me." Angel roused to someone's touch. The Duchess was ranting again. Angel wanted darkness. She didn't want to feel anything, ever again. But someone was there, so close she could feel the warmth of his breath. "I'm going to take you home with me," the gentle voice said. "You want to take her home? Fine, I'll gift wrap her," the Duchess said. "But you're going to pay first." "Woman, have you no decency?" Another man's voice. "The girl will be lucky to live." "Oh, she'll live. And don't look down your nose at me. I know Angel. She'll live. And you can't have her for nothing. I can tell you something else. She brought this on herself. The little witch knew exactly what she was doing. She pushed Brett over the edge. She'd been nothing but trouble since the day I picked her up out of the mud in San Francisco." "You can have your gold," came the voice that had pulled her from the darkness. But now it was hard, angry. Had she done something wrong again? "But get out of here before I do something I'll regret." The door slammed. Pain exploded in Angel's head, and she groaned. She could hear two men talking. One of them spoke to her. "I want to marry you before we leave together." "Marry her?" She gave a whimpering laugh. Someone took her hand. She thought it was Lucky at first, but Lucky's hand was soft and small. This one was large and hard, the skin rough with calluses. Just say yes. She would agree to wed Satan himself if it would get her out of the palace. Why not, she managed. She drifted on a sea of pain and quiet voices. The room was full of them. Lucky was there, and Doc, and the other man whose voice was so familiar, but she still couldn't place it. She felt someone slip a ring on her finger. Her head was raised gently, and she was given something bitter to drink. Lucky took her hand. "They're rigging his wagon so he can take you home with him. You'll sleep all the way with the laudanum you drank. You won't feel nothing." She felt Lucky touch her hair. "You're a regular married lady now, Angel." He had a wedding ring on a chain around his neck. He said it belonged to his mother. His mother, Angel. He put his mother's wedding ring on your finger. Can you hear me, honey? Angel wanted to ask who she had married, but what did it matter? The pain gradually receded. She was so tired. Maybe she would die after all. It would all be over then. She heard the clink of a bottle against a glass. Lucky was drinking again. Angel could hear her crying. She squeezed Lucky's hand weakly. Lucky squeezed back and sobbed softly. "Angel," she stroked her hair. "What'd you say to make Brett do this to you? Did you want him to kill you? Oh, is life really that bad?" She kept stroking her hair. "Hang on, Angel. Don't give up." Angel sat back into the comfortable darkness while Lucky rambled. "I'm going to miss you, Angel. When you're living out there in your cabin with the climbing roses all around, think about me once in a while, will you? Remember your old friend Lucky." Alright guys, that was the end of chapter 6. Angel seems to be hanging on by a thread, and Michael finally got to marry her. But hopefully Angel will get better. Of course, judging by the rest of the book thickness, she will. But if you want to hear more, consider commenting, subscribing, but do whatever you want. I don't really care. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.